just like the word enlighten is to lighten, to remove densities in your field, to lighten your energy, to enlighten yourself is to do your own healing work. That is what enlightenment is, to me now at least.
Hi, everyone. Welcome aboard Jumpseat Therapy with your host, Kevin Weaver. I have a very special guest with you guys today, a good friend of mine of 8 years plus, has been a huge part in my healing process through a lot of trauma and things in my life. So it's an honor, and I'm so excited to have you on board today, Lance. Share everyone a little bit about you. How are you?
Hi, Kevin. Thank you so much for having me. It's so wonderful to be here and see your smiling face and have this opportunity. I'm doing really well, and I'm really excited for this to share and more about our story and some of the weird, crazy things that have happened, but also share some love. So I'm excited.
Awesome. I'm excited. I'm excited too. I'm so excited to dive into some of these things that you have taught me in my life and have been a catalyst for me in my life to work on me, kind of diving in and do inner work, and helping those around me as well be able to do that. You are literally the catalyst for me in my life and this journey with the podcast as well. So to have this all kind of
Well, thank you
came
for saying.
about. So yeah. So tell us a little bit about you. I mean, you and I bonded over atheism, and I would like to say because um
Just get that out there.
let's get that out there. Yeah, because I mean, I grew up really religious in a negative sense. And so when I met you, I think we were both kind of in a place of, what is life, whatever, but also in a form of growth as well. And where we were, we bonded over that. And so maybe share a little bit on your side of that.
Yeah, so I guess I can just say a little bit about myself in the beginning before we actually met. I was in grad school. I had just graduated from grad school in atmospheric sciences, and I was applying for positions for climate science. And right before I left to go get this government position is when we actually met. And it was so amazing because I was in a time in my life where, I was so about science and my left mind and my intellectual mind. And it was all about brain power and knowledge and science. Science is the way, science is what's showing us how the world works and how to get better and all the things. But I was just so depressed and going through so many trials and tribulations myself. And I ended up like backing out of my program. I was going for my PhD, and I was also going through some drug abuses and domestic violence abuses. There was a lot of things going on in my life at the time. And so when I had left and tried to change my life, here you are that showed up in my life. And it was so amazing to have that energy come into my life and for us to bond over what we did, which was atheism, because we were like, it's religion hasn't helped and the world is crazy. Like, is there even a God? I don't really know. So where is God in our life? Like it was really nice to have this with somebody else after I went through so much. And so you were a big comfort system for me. Without I don't even know if you knew that. Like you were a big source of comfort for me during that time. So I really appreciate that time period.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know that because I had this sense of love that I think we were talking about. I had it then. However, I didn't n know it to its full extent. And so I was very positive, but again, still on my own works of being positive. Um, because the type of business I was in with health and nutrition and meeting you and at both in the same time of kind of opening it up to the idea of science and there is no God or everything like that. There was love for me, and that definitely kept me driving forward. So I guess I could see that. I could see how that was still working through me, whether I knew it was working or not. You know,
Totally was. It
kind of
definitely was.
interesting.
I'm
Yeah.
really glad to be on the receiving end of that. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think everything works the way it needs to, whether we know it or not. And I love that about what's outside of us and getting to where we are now from our atheism scientific life. But it all goes hand in
Long
hand
way.
in a lot of ways. It's really interesting from things that I think we've all discovered and stuff that I think we'll be able to talk about today. So I'm really, really excited. This is called jump seat therapy. So it's a little bit of therapy, but like not real therapy. So please seek the help that you need from your licensed therapist in your area. Um, but one of the things I've always asked new coworkers that I work with on the jump seat is how they handle some of the toughest challenges in their life, because it always helped me figure out how to navigate my life. So one of my favorite questions and what I want to ask you to kind of be the first question before we dive into deeper things. Is what are some ways you handle some of the toughest challenges in your life?
That's a big question. I would just say, coming through the path that I've gone through, my first answer, and this is kind of still shocking for me to say, but it is true for me now. It's like I go to God first. Like I go to source, I go to the divine because I now know through my experiences of being an atheist before and having complete disconnection, and now being a spiritual healer and doing the work I do, the energy and the connection that comes from aligning with your divine power, your higher self, your spirit team really does bring in amazing, beautiful, peaceful energy and love. It's the love frequency. And so if you're not experiencing love, go to the divine first. So that's number one for sure. But number two is, as a trauma energy and spiritual healer, I have many modalities in my tool belt that I'll whip out when I need them. And so that's anything from some energy work to reframing memories to somatic um, body work and meditations and just calming myself. Like a lot of us are just so stressed out, our nervous systems are just so on alert and adrenaline's running through us so often that we just need to calm down. We just need to come into some peace. And so one of my biggest go-tos is just going into a safe, peaceful scene and allowing myself to feel all of that beauty and all that nature and all of that love. And as no matter what's going on around me, if I can just go away for like 30 seconds, because I've done this so much, the more that you do it, the longer you don't have to do it for the same effect to happen. That I can just go really quickly into the bathroom and then go to my safe place, go to the beach, and then run my beautiful yellow through my body. And then all of a sudden, I feel so much better. And so it's because I got myself out of that kind of stressful situation and relaxed my nervous system. And now I'm in a place that's more neutral and I'm able to make a better decision about how to move forward with that difficult decision and with the divine, hopefully, inspiration that I've requested from the beginning. So those are like pretty much the big ways I handle challenges, and it wouldn't make sense to a lot of people from a science perspective because like how are you going to handle problems just going to God? Well, that's kind of what I'm here to talk about in a way, and so that's what I would say.
I like that. Absolutely. That's the place I'm getting to. I'm getting to that space where it becomes second nature to go through that, because it's like I've had to recondition myself with the line of work that you do with that reframing and everything. I'm like kind of a year in plus with that practice, but I can really tell the difference in my life from that. Is stepping out of the ego, and I think you and I've talked about ego and stuff like that too, but going down some of the healing work that I did when I first got reintroduced with you. um and you lifted my vibrations and my spirit up when it was at a very low point. So to everyone out there, Lance is the guy I couldn't wait to interview, because he is the one that helped me through my really close friend who passed to suicide. And it was weird how Lance and we got like rekindled our relationship and our friendship. It was very, very divine and spiritual, to say the least, because here I am after just losing my friend to suicide. I was at a big loss of where to go in life. I know I couldn't heal through this pain that I got from him on my own. And I remember one night I was praying into my room, still not really believing in God, right? Didn't believe anything higher than me. And I had this key that my friend left me, and I was holding on to it because my therapist, I was seeing a regular therapist who said, maybe sometimes, it's a good way to heal is to talk as if the person's in the room with you and kind of talk it out. And so I was praying out loud and talking to my friend as if he was in the room with me, and was hoping to get like some sign or some spiritual sign. And I'm holding that key and I'm just like, okay, please give me a sign. I need help. And I'm talking about all the stuff, like the negative, the positive, everything. I'm like just so mad that he did this. He killed himself. Da, da, da. I'm just like pissed. And so after that, I didn't get any signs or anything. And I was like, oh, I could see God's not real. Nothing's real. So I just had this key and I threw it across the room, and I go and fall asleep and wake up because I was also praying too. I said, please give me a sign, give me something, like someone reach out to me or something. So I go to sleep, wake up that morning with text from Lance, a friend of mine I haven't talked to in forever that we bonded over atheism. It was weird to like then get your response, a text the next day saying, hey, I don't know what it is, but I really feel like I had to reach out to you. I've had these dreams and da 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 da. Like you kind of just dived in, and I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, cool, this dream, like, okay, yeah, people have dreams of me, da da da, like, cool. I didn't think much of it until you started talking about like what you're doing now, and you said that you're learning to be a licensed trauma therapist. And I was like, oh my gosh, really? Like that's exactly what I need right now. I just went through some trauma. And so I'm thinking like, oh, you saw what I posted on social media. Because I posted my friend's death on social media. So I'm like, oh, Lance probably saw it on social media. He's reaching out to see if I'm okay. So I asked him, I'm like, so I guess you saw what I posted. And he's like, no, I'm sorry. I don't know what you posted. I don't use social media anymore. And I'm like, really? Well, then how did you know to reach out? Like it's weird because it's not the world I live in, right? And so then I'm curious. I'm like, okay, so tell me a little bit about this dream. I still didn't tell him what happened. And I'm like, tell me a little bit about your dreams that you're having. And you said that you pretty much explained to the T everything that I was dealing with, even to the chakras in my body. Like you said, your lower chakras and different areas in your body, because my back had been hurting for a while. And I think some of the dreams you're having were saying something about I was contemplating life, and I was. Not only was it my friend contemplating life and who did that, I too was dealing with it and stressful about it. And so to have that really changed my perspective and had me curious, because I'm like, I can't do this healing by myself. So maybe this is that answer. And still very skeptical. I think we had a phone call like a month after that. So you can explain a little bit more of what you do. So from that story alone, Lance, can you share a little bit your side of that and where you shared with me some of the work that you do, and maybe share with the audience some of that work. I mean, I think you shared a little bit of it, but kind of dive in a little bit to that.
Yeah, sure. That was one of the most profound experiences of my life, I have to say. And it really, I think, like you said, it was so divine and it was so spiritual. It was so meant to be the way it happened from how we were before. And we hadn't even talked for years. Like we had gone years without talking. And so for me, I was going through my spiritual awakening at the time, and I was dreaming and seeing colors and talking to plants and animals, and really weird things were happening. But it was starting to become more real than anything I had experienced before in our, physical world. And so I just started to get a couple dreams about Kevin, and that one night that he just reached out to prayer for the first time in a while, I had the most intense, vivid dream that I had really kind of had up to that point that was so spiritual. And I could see the energy field that you were having and all the, the issues and problems. And what happened when I woke up, and this is not like me. I think it was like 7, it was before 8 a.m. It was very early. I don't message anyone super early in the morning ever. And Spirit was like, you have to message him right away. Do it right now, right now. And it was so strong. The message and the inspiration to do that was so strong. And then, when I followed through with it, and then our conversations transpired and all those things happened, I was like, I was kind of blown away. Because I was like, yeah, this is kind of my world now, but it was so real having it come into my world through a really good friend I haven't seen in a long time. And that you explained everything you did. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So this is real. Like something is real here. And so that's when I started to talk to you about what I do. I told you how I kind of left science and I almost kind of even left society in a way. This is kind of the first time I'm really talking about myself in a public setting. And so I really thank you for this opportunity because I had my own fears and traumas and things to go through. And so I went and joined an intentional community that was in the middle of nowhere, Texas, off grid. And that's why I had no social media. I had like no contact to the outside world in a way, but I was going through my own process and my own training and healing and all the modalities that I now work with. That was part of that process, and I'm so grateful for it. So we were able to talk about what I do, and that's, energy work. I'm a Reiki master, but beyond that, I love energy work, and I think it can help a lot of people. But I've started to get away from that and go more into trauma work, as you said, and I'm not a licensed trauma therapist, so we can't throw the licensed word out there, but I am a certified trauma practitioner in holographic memory resolution modality, which we can talk about more later. But this is the main modality that I use and that Kevin mentioned about the reframing process. This healing modality is really amazing and it helps us to understand how and why we have our traumas and our issues in our life, where they come from, all these memories that we've stored or gone through, and how we can reframe these memories with the situation that we wanted to have happen instead and bring in that love and safety and healing frequency. And so it's kind of a lot to just give an overview there like that. But that's my main line of work now is working one-on-one with people in trauma work and doing this reframing process and externalizing all these emotions that we're carrying in our nervous system. And it beyond that, like I have a business with Tomar Levine. She is one of my best friends, and I met her, and we have karmic healing business together and a prayer oriented healing business together. So we teach empowered prayer and we do live monthly healing calls that are free where people can come and do prayers with us and join in the healing circle and just be in that beautiful field of love and healing. So that's a little bit about what I do. And then we were able to eventually get together and go through some work, and that was really profound as well.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know some of the new stuff that you're doing now. I'm really excited to know more about, and I should go into your website and do the prayers with y'all. It's a good
Yeah, come on. We call it
start.
healing hour. Instead of
Healing
like
hour. I
happy
love
hour,
it.
we have healing hour, and it's, an hour every month. And anyone's welcome. It's all online. Go to divinepartnership.net, and that's our business. And you can sign up for our healing calls there, and we'll give you the link. And anyone's welcome to join.
I love
So
that. Perfect. Well, I'll definitely want to try to put that in the comments and the below this so they can click it and find it. Very, very good work. And I'm so happy to have you here, Lance, because this has presented itself and on how to kind of get some of that work out there. And I, from my experience with the holographic memory resolution work that you do, um, has helped me so much more than regular therapy. I mean, therapy is definitely great. Never knock it. Um, but there was a book that I read called The Body Keeps the Score, and he talks a lot about EMDR work, and a lot of therapists use that. And it was very helpful, but it was still kind of putting a band-aid on the root issue of things. And almost felt like I re-traumatized myself versus like actually helping myself. And it did to an extent, taking my higher self of where I am now to that place and then like forgive myself or forgive the situation is what EMDR kind of teaches. And it did for me a little bit. But coming to the HMR work that you do and that you study and are in really was a catalyst in my life to really change and reframe. And my thought of it at first was terrifying to do that, to reframe some of these things that happened to me because I felt like that's what made me who I am today. So, I feel like you were trying to erase it from me, which is kind of what you're doing. But my ego wanted to hold on to it because it's like, oh, that's what I am. It's like body keeps the score. Like I wanted to keep it because it was like, oh, the feelings are, it's important to feel. Yes, it is. However, I held on to it to the point that it was damaging me because I was holding on to all this energy. And when I was able to kind of tap into energies and really come at my past traumas with a space of love, was when I did the healing and when the healing really happened because I'm no longer looking at that pain or hurt and trauma with the lens of shame. I'm looking at it now with the lens of love. And that's what the HMR work taught me, was grounding myself in love first. And that I'm just so excited to kind of have you share that on this platform because um this is kind of the start. I want people to like, get involved into helping some of themselves with ways to help themselves do this work. And I really feel like that's what you do. And I'm honored. I'm honored that you're here.
I'm
Uh,
very honored as well for you to say all that. I really appreciate that. I'm very, very passionate about this, and it's because it changed my life, as you're saying now, it's changed your life, and it's left you with tools that you can use throughout your daily life. And it really does teach us how to become our own healers. Like, we're not supposed to be going to other people to work on ourselves. That's amazing. We're always going to need love and support from our loved ones, but our healing journey is our own journey. It's like something that we must do. It's the inner work, and it starts with us, and then we can go forward and help other people. So I had to do a lot of inner work, and holographic memory resolution really taught me how to become my own best healer. And this was after I was a Reiki practitioner, after I've done all these other things. This is the modality that really reframed what trauma was in my life and how to overcome it. And so I think it's really important that we share this message. So I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
Okay, well then I also want you to kind of dive into what got you into that to begin with. What got you what was the catalyst for you to kind of get that healing work done when you got into HMR and I would say spiritual, really in general?
Mm. Yeah, well, so the biggest catalyst for me, I usually say I have like a three-prong awakening kind of thing. And so when I was a very stubborn and materialist atheist scientist in my rational brain, I wasn't able to look at anything in alternative healing and wellness besides like nutrition. And so I was able through a friend to go into plant medicine ceremony, and that really did open my eyes. I went overnight from being an atheist to being a believer in something beyond. I didn't exactly know what, but I knew there was something. And so that was huge for me to have that experience and to really see beyond the veil for the first time and know that we're all connected. There was a strong sense in knowing that there is, at least for me personally, like there is a source and we're all connected through this one source. And so profound. And so I went through some depression because of that, because I was like, holy crap, like I thought I was figuring out life and I'm, doing really well, like top of my class scientist, and I'm trying to, help what I think is a big issue. I got into climate change science. And so here I am now trying to figure out life as I've seen way beyond than I ever saw before. So then I started to get more into some wellness practices and some spiritual alternative practices. And I got into Kundalini yoga and chakra healing through a friend. And so that happened one day where I had a spiritual Kundalini awakening, as people call it. And it was a really amazing, profound energy experience where I saw color coming into my body. And it was just, it was so profound. And it was like, there is something beyond here, Lance. Like, pay attention here. Like, you're seeing all these colors and you're feeling all these different things, like beyond the physical. And so there was so much that made me think about that I quit my job. So I was like, I really can't be in science anymore when I'm experiencing these things, and I'm starting to research now alternative healing modalities and seeing that plenty of people are getting help and changing their lives, and miracles are happening, and weird stuff that people wouldn't believe are changing their lives. And I'm like, there's one testimonial after another after another. I have to see what this is about. So I kind of shy away from really talking about this, but like the third awakening, I say one, two, three. The third awakening, and I also do this now for people, is spirit releasement healing. And so that was another part of the equation that I wasn't really aware of. And so that there's other energies and entities that can do things. And so that that healing completely changed my life and healed my insomnia overnight. And so that was really critical for my development, because I understood there's also, it's not just us that could be the issue. There could be something external that's kind of messing with you. And my insomnia changed overnight when that healing was done. So those three things really shifted my life. And that's how I started to become more interested in healing. And I started to go through beautiful synchronicities from person to teacher to another person to teacher. And here I am a few years later, and I have several certifications, and I've worked with, hundreds of people and done so many things that now the mission is to like really spread this. Like I've kind of done the work and I've done the healing. We're never done, right? We're never done. It's always a
Right.
journey. But it's like I'm now at a point where I think I can really speak about this from an experienced and also knowledgeable perspective, and help other people just learn how to become their own healer. It's so much easier than we were taught. And that's another thing that was really crazy to believe. It's almost too easy to believe. And um, the things that HMR is teaching is learning to work with your own inherent brainwave frequencies. Like this is in your biology. This is the innate mechanism of how to rewire your subconscious so that you are not triggered by your past traumas that are kind of weighing you down. So that's a little bit of a long-winded response there, but I hope that makes sense.
Oh no, I think it does. It rings true for me and my journey with that healing with that line of work is um I find it really hard to articulate a lot of this, but for me, as of course I'm still on my yeah, like you said, we continue that journey of healing and work and stuff. So but tapping into energies and stuff too is something that was new for me and was very hard to grasp, but but really helped me because I'm understanding what's my energy and someone else's energy.
Hmm.
And it's really fascinating to um, have these experiences. And I'm trying, my brain's not working right now, but there's some stuff that I really wanted to share and elaborate in that.
And like you said, it's hard to articulate
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah,
So
yeah.
because this is like so new and like we don't really talk about these things and we're not taught, it's so foreign, and that was really difficult for people to approach. And so that's why I really like, I think that this is part of my like new mission, is that like I have gone through these experiences and I have this profound transformation of atheism to spiritual healer. And I've not only changed my life, but I'm helping to change other lives. And like you're a testimonial of that. And I'm so grateful for that. Like we have to like keep this going and share with people like this information can help change your life. And it's not scary. It's not something to be scared about. Like other energies
Ah,
are part of our life. We live in multiple dimensions and multiple planes of existence, and we're just not taught that from a young age.
yeah. We're not, and we have to unlearn to learn this. Like,
I remember that being one of the key words when we first got back together. It was like, Kevin, I've unlearned so many things in my life. Unlearning is all about what life is about now. It's all about unlearning because we've
right.
been conditioned by our systems and education and medical and all these things, and like beautiful, amazing people. I don't knock them, but I just feel like they're going the wrong direction. They're disconnected from the sense of love and compassion that's supposed to be brought in for people to connect and grow and heal. Everything is all about money and greed and competition. And
Mm.
uh, so I really do think HMR is going to provide a platform to teach people from a very young age. What's really cool is that some practitioners are working with children, and children are a little bit more open and
We're more intuitive to these
more
things. Yeah.
intuitive. And so when you when you work with them with this modality, they're just like bam, 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 bam. And because it's like so fun to them because they get to see the scenes and they get to run the colors and it's just like it's so great. And so if the kids can take off with it and love it and feel good from it, I think that's gonna like change the world. And so I think that could be a big path forward in the future too for the modality is like let's teach this to kids because they can do wonders with this.
Oh, absolutely. And they'll be the next generation to really catapult it into a, a natural thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, because that's what it's becoming for me, and it's really, really helping me be able to balance a lot of things in my life. I think I'm getting to that place now where it's starting to become a norm, and it's quicker for me now to have some of these practices in my life because when I first got like a lot of insight or a lot of images and spiritual things, I guess, kind of happening to me, it was terrifying. Because for one, I wasn't rooted in love, but I had to figure that out. And as I've done some of that inner work, even past like the work that you and I did, but you showed me how to do it at home and showed me how to make it a practice. And it's kind of like meditating and then learning. It's another form of like meditation or another form of like doing inner work for yourself is, and I think it's hard in today in the world we live in now because everything's so quick and so now that it you have to we have to combat that. We have to say, okay, wait, give myself 10 minutes a day to do this healing, to do this meditation, to do this HMR work, to do whatever it is that you need to do that inner work for yourself. It's like we're always constantly having to combat that. So I give myself practices every day now to do that. I'm not always the best at it,
We're all
but
guilty. Yeah, we're all guilty.
yeah. But doing this podcast and this episode with you is definitely encouraging me and enlightening me again to work towards those things. And but I would say in general, I feel like well more balanced in certain areas of my life and setting boundaries with the world around me. And again, with this podcast, again, helps me learn how to navigate these areas of my life and share these stories and hear other people's stories and other people's experiences within that helps paint a picture for me. And it's this podcast is a part of that healing, I think for me.
Right.
So being able to share these practices with other people is exciting.
Especially when you have love. No reason to be
Yeah,
scared if you have love.
right.
So
You could really right, and it's
nothing can
learning
touch
what.
you if you're loving. It's like fear can't do anything if you have full authentic love, you
Yes.
know, fear can't even come around that. So you're doing amazing things by keeping your work up and being aware like of these parts of yourself because that's part of the line of work I do too is inner child parts healing and some
Mm.
of this will come up with HMR and some of the techniques and stuff that your parts come up and they need some help. You have traumatized parts and you have hero parts and you have your higher self like knows everything part like there are all these parts of you that you can work with and when you integrate and you heal then you become more whole so things can flow and you can get the visions and you can get the information and you can actually go forward a lot more balanced because all your parts are working together and they're not fighting
Mm.
for each other and fighting and resisting or being triggered and going back into denial and all the things. So it's really I've told you this before, but it's like you're like one of my just like A star, A plus clients. Like I just like you're a friend first, but
Right.
doing the work we've done and having like the actual client procedure, like you've taken this so much further than almost anyone else I have that's worked with it, and it's showing dividends. Like all these things are happening to you, and it's really quickly, and um, it's so cool to see your development through this. And so it's like you're almost like a dream come true. Like this is like why I'm getting into this work because I want to see more of this in life, like people
Yes.
taking on their own healing and their own challenges and learning to become more balanced. And then that way they can spread more love. Like it
Yeah.
only is a positive thing for everybody.
It's showing people how to do that because I mean, we know these concepts and we have heard them throughout our life, but we haven't really fully experienced them. It's like love itself. Like I didn't really fully accept love, and that's why I couldn't get into that space. And that's when I first did that work with you. One of the things that came through for me a lot was to accept love, like accept it. You're here for a reason. And I was like, okay, I know I'm here for a reason, but what is that reason, you know? And it was for me to accept love. And I was like, haven't I already? I accepted glimpses of it, but I didn't accept it fully because I still would go back to those parts of me and still have this sense of shame of like, oh, you're a terrible person for this, which was the reason why had an addiction to alcohol. Like it was still a big problem because it was the shame built around it. It was like, well, I'm already a bad person, so I just keep drinking and I need it to be social. I need it to this and this. When that love says, you don't. You need me, and
Everything you
that's all
need.
that it's everything you need, right? It's what
Mhm.
you are, and it's like you don't even have to try. It's just it's what you are at your very core, and it's if anything, it's your true identity, and it's learning to accept then you start accepting all of you, your flaws and all with that love, and you're like, it's just love. Like I am, even that I though I did that, I just didn't know that at that time or whatever it was. You learn to just send that gratitude and forgiveness over those parts of you, and which may have been through many lifetimes, which is another thing we could probably dive into and go for another podcast episode maybe.
Maybe that could be another
Um, yeah,
episode.
yeah, because we'd be here for 6 hours probably. So
My
anyway,
favorite line of work is the karmic past life healing. Like that is so just it's so amazing, and to see what can happen and you can change in people just from working on their past lives. It's like we're all there's many parts of us not even in this lifetime. It's just we're so
right.
beyond. So
That's a hard thing to wrap your head around. So there was something, I mean, you shared that with me at first, before I even got this healing work done. And I was just like, oh no, like that doesn't mean I can barely manage this. Like there's the thought of
I
having
know I
another.
came at you so strong.
Oh my God, it was so, and it still scares me. And so, I'm slowly stepping into that now. I'm starting to understand it. It's the weirdest thing, but I've actually had my stuff happens through dreams. Some people could do it in meditation form and can do it while they're awake. It scares me while I'm awake, and that's just how my higher self teaches me. But I see them in my dreams, and I'm a totally different person. And it's the not to freak anyone else out there, but again, root yourself in love, and these things will help you present, work through things that you have to work through. And I definitely do want to have an interview with you on that eventually, but I may have you do some work with me on that because it's
I
like
think it'd be great. Yeah, we
I'm
should
just
dive
now
into your
getting
past lives,
it.
see what's up. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because that's definitely something that takes a while to get to. And that's why I want this podcast to, I share with my audience is, take everything with a grain of salt. There's something that doesn't ring true to you. It doesn't mean doesn't exist or it's not real. It just means that you're not there yet. You're not ready for it. And that's the way it was presented for me. It's like, okay, you're just not there yet. Let's start at this fundamental level. And my counselors taught me this too. Like to reach enlightenment, you have to start with these fundamental levels first, and then you build your way up to that. Because you can't just jump ahead, it's just, you're not trusting the process. You're just trying to rush the process, and you can't do that. You have to go through that.
Totally agree. And you just said like one of my favorite words, enlightenment,
Hmm.
because I had a reframe of that word. And because what I used to think is like, oh, you're working towards enlightenment, gaining all the wisdom and knowledge in the world to just know and, become the best person you can be. But to me now, just like the word enlighten is to lighten, to remove densities in your field, to lighten your energy, to enlighten yourself is to do your own healing work. That is what enlightenment is, to me now, at least.
That's
So,
so good. Yeah.
when you work with HMR and you work with trauma healing, all these really dense, dark, burdensome somatic energies are in your field, and you're working to bring in love and to release them and to clear them. And so that's when people come out of session. That's the number one first thing they say is like, oh my gosh, I feel so much lighter. And it's
Yeah.
like you literally do feel a physical weight leave you because emotional density can be stored in all your meridians and all your body, and it has a physiological effect in you. And you've always heard people say, "Oh, I have the weight of the world on my shoulders," or "Oh, I have butterflies in my stomach." Like these are real feelings that are tuning you into the emotional burden that your meridians are carrying at that time. So it's like you got to work to get rid of that burden in your shoulders, and you have to work to heal and bring comfort to your stomach and your gut. And these things are our body is trying to tell us, like you said, the body keeps the score. And HMR teaches Bessel's work in the course when you're training. So it's very profound to go to the body and work from there. And I think that's where some of the conscious main modalities like talk therapy, like we said, don't knock it because I've done it myself and it can help a lot of people, but talk therapy is typically only remaining in your 5% conscious mind. What is your 95% subconscious doing? Well, your 95% subconscious from a traumatic standpoint is usually not even in the present moment. It's worried about the history in the past, all of the trauma that happened to you, or it's worried about the future and the fear of the future. And so we're walking around re-triggered with these body elements, all these body metaphors, and we're subconsciously being triggered by our fast-paced society and all the sounds, all the deaths, all the things on TV, all these things are subconscious triggers in our body that reinitiate the physiological effects of trauma, that fight, flight, freeze response. So adrenaline goes up, your hormones surge, the chemicals go throughout your body, and we're trancing every hour. There's research that supports the fact that we are trancing every hour and being subjected to our prior traumas. And so HMR really kind of figured all this out and put it all together, the somatic psychology, color psychology, energy psychology, and all the trauma work, and really allowed us to see that we're all just not stuck in the present moment. Like the greater part of ourself, not our 5% conscious mind, but our 95% deeper self is stuck in the past in a trauma. And until we bring love and healing to that, then we're going to keep being re-triggered. And if you're re-triggered every hour, every day, every week, every year, then you're going to be flooding your system with all those chemicals, and then all of a sudden chronic disease pops up.
Mm.
So HMR is showing us that there is and can be a memory-based etiology to people's chronic pain and illness conditions. So if you just work with the memories that have happened in your life, you can track back and reduce and neutralize these trauma effects on your body, so you're not trancing and you're not being stressed and your nervous system isn't overwhelmed all the time, and you are able to come into balance and wholeness and integrate and have the energy, the visions and the energy experiences and all those things because you're more whole. And so I kind of just rambled there, but I think I was
Good.
just kind of wanted to say, like, there is an importance with working with the subconscious and healing work, and that's what HMR really does really well compared to other healing modalities.
I like that. I love when you talked about the enlightenment because it really does make you lighter. I remember after my session with you, it was like I felt so much like I've also felt really gross. Like I was really dirty. Like I just released so much. That I had the best shower ever.
Yeah. Showers are very cleansing. Yeah, if we get into
Yeah.
exercise, maybe they'll do an energy shower today.
Yeah, yeah. But it's eliminating those things and like, it really does. It's how you reach the enlightenment in a way. It's like um, what the word you use, maybe eradicate or whatever. You eliminate um, those things holding you back. And I could definitely attest to that because that's what I felt like I did with that work was just I felt so much lighter and no longer am holding on to, like I said in the beginning, like I was holding on to these traumas. Like they were a part of me when you realize they're not. Like they didn't have to happen. Like I chose to let them happen to me to live the life I was living. That when you can let that go and know it doesn't really belong to you, it's amazing how that inner healing and work that we do for ourselves uh, manifests us into reaching that enlightenment.
Mm.
Well, then, all right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up a little bit. I can go on for hours and do a lot more. So, I'll definitely have you back, of course, because, like, I mean, like I said, this is one of the biggest catalysts that, you were the one that really helped me step into this part of me and uh, to have this podcast come about. So, I'm definitely going to have you back. So, before we leave, I just want to leave you with some questions that I share with all my guests.
Mhm.
So the first one I have for you is, if you knew you wouldn't fail at something, what would you do? Maybe already
Uh,
doing it.
yeah, I was gonna say I think that question could be answered that I'm already doing it. Like,
Mm,
if I couldn't fail at something, well, the inclination of failing at something means you're scared. Like you have a fear of that you're gonna fail. And I failed so many times. Like you shared earlier how you failed and it's brought you full circle to this moment. So it's like I think we're supposed to fail and I think we're
Mm.
supposed to go through the failures so that we can grow and overcome them. But I'd say I'm doing what I'm hoping I should be doing, because I think there's a good possibility that, I could fail at this, I guess, but I've already failed, and you don't like that language, but I had my experience of the sciences and everything in the past, and now I'm just so passionate about this that I can't turn around. I have to keep moving forward, and even if I fail, and even if people don't understand me, and even if all these weird things we talk about are triggering and turn people away, just like you said, it's just not for them at this time, and that's okay. That's not for me to take in and embody at this time. And so I've really worked through a lot of that, and so I'd say I'm doing it now. Like this is like
Mhm.
it's this is the first time I've really publicly shared everything in this format and this capacity, and so I'm living my dream in a way. So thank you for allowing me to do this, Kevin. So wonderful.
Absolutely. That's what I want. I want that I want that space for everyone. It's very needed. So, well, the next question, if money wasn't an obstacle, how would you live your life?
Mm. Well, I say I probably wouldn't change it very much because I try to live life like money isn't an obstacle, but it's easier said than done. Because I'm on a buttload of student loans and all these things, and trying to make it in my entrepreneurial, I can't even say that word, single solo healer career. And so it would help a lot. I think if I had all the money, then I would be doing this like tenfold. Like I would like be building healing centers. I used to be part of a community and our desire was to build a community focused around farming, sustainable building, and healing retreats. And it was, a beautiful dream that didn't come true at the time, but I think that could be possible in the future. So I don't know, if I had all the money, I'd just be building all these healing centers and teaching all these concepts and allowing people to experience just like 100% natural, authentic healing, nature, spirituality, all these things that bring connection, love, and joy. I would just try to do that like a millionfold, however I could. Like I gotta just spread this. So I'm hoping that will happen anyways, and
Yeah,
will be the case. But
I love
if I had the
that.
money now, that's what I would do now. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Fair enough. So how can people reach you and find out more about the work that you do? Can you share a little bit of that?
Yeah, so the best way to reach me is you can go to lancerayborn.com. That's where you'll find all the information about my services and website, and you can see some people's stories and stuff there. And I also have Facebook and Instagram. I'm getting a little bit better about getting on my socials because I wasn't on socials for over 4 years. And so literally just as of this week, I posted the first time. So you can find me on the socials there. And my other website, like I said, divinepartnership.net. That's my joint business, where we do prayer and karmic healing. So you can find all that stuff there. And I will be coming maybe to a city near you very soon because I have now developed a type of kind of just like workshop talk that I want to give to people and to show them all these teachings and more and how to become their own healer and to work with HMR in simple ways to help their lives. And so I'm already booked for a few locations to speak at workshops this summer, and I am looking to do some more. So if there's anyone who's curious about this and wants to host me and find out more about this work and do more things in person, because it's really cool when you get to experience this in person, the energy work in person,
Mm.
the HMR work. So I'm really excited about spreading this more and teaching this to people. So, yeah. And if you want to email me too, just lancerayborn@pm.me is the best way to reach me. So that's probably about it, I think.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yay. Well,
Yeah.
thank you again, Lance. I'm just so happy and thankful for to have you on the show again. And thank you for everything that you're doing, all the work that you're doing on yourself and enlightening other people to do that work for them. It's an honor to have you here, and I thank you so much. So I will see you soon. I'll have you back. Love, peace, and unity.
Lovely community. Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
Let's dive deep, let's take flight, and don't see that